Time now for an in-depth look at the market news this afternoon, and for that I'm joined on the line by Dr. Jun-sok, professor of economics at the Catholic University of Korea. Professor Yang, thank you for coming on today.
Happy to be here.
Well, stocks on Wall Street were up about 2% on the eve of Election Day. It's not clear how we can interpret that, maybe except that investors apparently liked the way things were going. What's the story in the global markets and here in Korea?
Okay, well, global markets as a whole yesterday, it was a bit amazing. Almost every major stock market ended up going up, though by varying degrees. And the interpretation seems to be against every expectation that the analysts have tried to convince. I think the stock investors thought that this would be a fairly simple election, and probably with Biden winning the election. The reason I'm saying that is because for some stock markets, when now it seems like the election results will be delayed, and when President Trump seems to be gaining more votes, there seems to be at least some fall in the market. The Asian markets are closing or have just closed, and the Hang Seng Index has recorded a negative growth just toward the end of the day. And the European market, the FTSE, the trading has just started, and the trading is starting at a negative level so far. And the futures right now seems to be going down. So again, it seems like the markets have expected a fairly simple election against all advice to the contrary, and it does seem like they expected Biden to win the election, but now as the President Trump seems to be right now doing better than expected, and the results seem to be delayed, and it may take days for the results to come out. The market seems to be turning at least a bit negative so far.
Yeah, the futures suddenly turned down in the past couple of hours. Of course, the results of the election will have an impact on Korea's economy and the financial markets here. So would a disputed election or major protests. So what impact do you see in particular?
Okay, well, the biggest problem right now is uncertainty. I think the worst case scenario was that whether Biden wins or Trump wins, there will be uncertainty and long delay in getting the results, and then some contest on seeing who won. And right now, it seems to be falling in that scenario. Just about 10, 15 minutes ago, President Trump has said that he believes that he won the election, and apparently he even said that counting the votes should stop now. So right now the scenario seems to be unless Biden makes a big comeback in the next hour or so, the results will be contested, the votes will be closed, and there will be a lot of uncertainty, which means obviously bad news for the market. Now, in the longer term, if you look at the policies, if President Trump is elected, there will probably be some additional uncertainties because, well, President Trump has never been very good at making a consistent policy other than cutting taxes and increasing tariffs. And there will probably be more trade tensions with China and other countries, which will be reflected in the stock prices. Whereas if Biden wins the election, then I think the markets will favor more stability, more transparency that comes with the Biden presidency. So the prices will stabilize. But right now, the election seems to be going much more unstable and perhaps toward Trump than the markets have expected.
Well, something else we've seen in the past couple of days, oil prices jumping by 2% or more on both of the past couple of days. The price of gold up too. What do you make of these moves?
Okay, well, that actually makes more sense to me because every responsible analyst, political analyst and economist have said that this election will be close and it'll take a long time for the results to come out. And if we take that scenario, then the rise in oil prices as well as the rise in commodity prices and rise in gold prices as well actually makes fairly good sense because, well, whenever markets are unstable, whenever the economic situation is unstable, these type of commodities and gold, their prices usually do go up. And there are a lot of things that we can expect which adds to the instability right now. Who wins the election? That's the biggest one, but will Trump accept the results if he loses? And will there be a lot of protests in the United States if one side or the other loses? We've seen on the news that the shops in New York City, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., they made provisions for violent protests. So that adds to the instability. And then the coronavirus infections in the United States and Europe is going up, and there has been terrorist incidents in Europe. So in a sense, the rise in commodity prices, the rise in price of gold, that I think is a more natural reaction. If the elections end up becoming more stable, I expect these prices to fall back to normal levels. But right now, the instability seems to be increasing. So at least for the next couple of days, unless the results of the election becomes more clear very quickly in the next few hours, I expect these prices to continue to rise.
All right, Professor, we'll have to leave it there for today and catch up soon once the election results become clearer.
Okay.
Thanks so much for coming on.